It is Monday, July 20th, and this is your Hope Update. Now, I've not been keeping track. I don't know how many of these I have done with you over the course of the last several months. I'm going to give you a heads up, though. This is likely to be my last one for a while, or maybe my last one forever. I've got some time away coming, and it really feels like this might be a natural moment to stop what was once, I think, really helpful and really timely, and see what God has coming for us next. But as I think about the last several months, and specifically these Hope Updates, as I think about the role of hope in our world, here's what I'm convinced of. That increasingly our world sees hope as something that is naive, it's immature, it's foolish. Our world does not look upon hopeful people with respect, really. It seems like the ways of the world say that if you're cynical, if you're jaded, if you're thinking the worst case, then somehow you're street smart, you're worldly, you're wise. And meanwhile, those of us who choose to live in hope, we're kind of marginalized. I think that's why these Hope Updates have been so important, because while hope is rare, it's definitely not foolish. And in the news headlines or anywhere else, no one's calling you to live with hope. No one's calling you to put the best construction on things. No one is calling you to believe in the best, believing in a God who's going to take care of us and ultimately see us through these really hard times we've been in. And no one else is going to tell you that except God. He's going to call you to that. And I've been privileged to just be one to remind you of the promises of God. And here's really what I want to leave you with as we close off this chapter of these Hope Updates. I've already said it once, but I want to say it again, that although hope is rare, it is not foolish. Those of us who choose hope are accessing a deep kind of wisdom, a wisdom that transcends the world. It's a wisdom that knows that at the end of the day, there is ultimately a good God in heaven who is working all things out for good. A God who created this world with such intentionality, such purpose, such attention to detail. He's not going to let it just all pass away. He's created us and he's created you, you individually, with certain things in mind and how you look and just your physical makeup, but also the purpose that he's called you to. It's unique and it's distinct. And a God who has shown so much care and concern for us in just bringing us into being and bringing our world into being, he's not going to quit showing concern for us in hard moments like these. See, hope is rare, but it's not foolish. Hope is accessing the wisdom and the knowledge of a God who is always present, who can turn a cross into Easter, and who can turn death and what looks like loss into ultimate victory through his son Jesus, and he can do it for us too. So as we bring this chapter of Hope Updates to a close, I just want to encourage you to keep on living as people of hope. We have every reason to. And I've noticed in the Christian church that we get kind of pulled in, and it happens, we get kind of pulled into the currents of our world. There is so much cynicism that is coming from Christians these days, and that's not what God wants for us. I think we think we're being wise and worldly when we dip into the cynicism, but that's not true. There is a deeper kind of wisdom we access when we choose to abide in hope. And the Psalms sum this up again and again so well. I want to read to you part of Psalm 31 about abiding in hope. The psalmist writes, we believe this is David, he says, "I am forgotten as though I were dead." How many of us have felt forgotten over the last few months? "I have become like broken pottery," right? Cast on the ground, meaningless. "For I hear many whispering, terror on every side. They conspire against me and plot to take my life. But I trust in you, Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hands. So deliver me from the hands of my enemies, from those who pursue me. Let your face shine on your servant. Save me in your unfailing love. Let me not be put to shame, Lord, for I have cried out to you." Hear what David's saying? Man, it feels foolish to be hopeful sometimes. It's vulnerable to be hopeful, right? It's safer. Cynicism is safer. It's way more armored. It's way less vulnerable. It is vulnerable to put yourself in a hopeful place. But that's why David says, I'm crying out to you, God. I'm choosing hope. So don't let me be put to shame. Don't let my vulnerability work against me. And then after this, he turns to everyone else, not about his story, but he says to us, love the Lord, all his faithful people. The Lord preserves those who are true to him, but the proud he pays back in full. So be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord. Be strong and take heart, all you who choose to put your hope in the Lord. See, hope is not easy, but it's what our world needs right now. Hope may look foolish, it may look weak, but hope is not foolish. It's the most important thing we can bring into our world right now. Being cynical may seem like it's worldly and wise, but it's just a fear of vulnerability. Yes, hope is vulnerable, but we have a God who is fighting for us, especially when we choose hope. So as you experience life over the next couple of weeks, even this week, I just want to remind you to choose to live in hope. And it feels foolish and it feels scary. It feels vulnerable. It feels a little unsafe sometimes. It's way easier to fall back into cynicism. But choose to be people of hope, because we know we have a God who sees us, who's watching out for us, and he will not let us be put to shame when we put our hope in him. Hey, I pray that God gives you the strength to just change your heart, your mind, your thinking, so that you can be a person of hope. And that's a significant way you can make a difference in the world today and every day. So there is your hope update. God bless.